Hi, namaste. How's everybody doing? uh, so good. It's Thursday again, so I'm sitting down over here. And I have a very special night tonight because instead of my usual drummer who doesn't speak, eat, or do other things, I have with me Mr. Arjun himself. There he is.
Hello.
Hello, Arjun, hello. Okay, we just made everybody dizzy all around the world. Very good. Pranavam Pavanakuma Kalabana Pava Jnanagan Jasuhradanayaga Vasin Ram Sarachavadha Atulta Baladhama Himshalabadeham Dhanurjavana Krishna Jnani-nama Graganyam Sakalaguna-nidhana Paranam-adhisham Raghupati-priya-bhaktam Vatajatam namam Pushpadi-kritavarisham Mashaki-kritarakshasam Ramayana Mahamalaratnam Andenilatmajam Anjana Nandaram Viram Janaki Shokanashanam Kapisamakshanta Andilanka Bhayankaram Langa Sindhu Salilam Salilam Yashokavahi Janakatmaja Adatane Dadalanka Namamitam Pranjaliranjanayam Manojavam Marutatulya Vegam Jitendriyam Buddhimatam Vardishtam Atatmajam Vanarayutamukham Shri Ramadutam Sharanam Prapadye Shri Ramadutam Sharanam Prapadye Shri Ramadutam Sharanam Prapadye Shri Ramadutam Sharanam Prapadye. That line, Shri Ramadutam Sharanam Prapadye. Means I take shelter and refuge in the messenger of Ram, the one who brings Ram to me, Hanuman, the breath of Ram, the breath of God. Shri Ramadutam Sharanam Prapadye Shri Ramadutam Sharanam Prapadye Anjaneya Matipatalanam Kanchanadi Kamaniya Vigraham Parijata Taramura Vasanam Havayami Pavamananandanam Yatra Yatra Raghunatha Kirtana Tatra Tatra Kritamastakhanjali Vashpavari Paripurna Lochanam Martinamat Rakshasantakam Bolo Bajranga Bali Hanuman Ki Jai. Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai 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 Ram Jai Jai Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Jai Jai Ram, Krishna Hare, Jai Jai Ram, Krishna Hare. Jai Jai Ram, Krishna Hare, Jai Jai Ram, Krishna Hare. Jai Jai Ram, Krishna Hare, Jai Jai Ram, Krishna Hare. Jai Jai Ram, Krishna Hare, Jai Jai Ram, Krishna Hare. Jai Jai Ram, Krishna Hare, Jai Jai Ram, Krishna Hare. Jai Jai Ram, Krishna Hare, Jai Jai Ram, Krishna Hare. Jai Jai Ram, Krishna Hare, Jai Jai Ram, Krishna Hare. Jai Jai Ram, Krishna Hare, Jai Jai Ram, Krishna Hare. Jai Jai Ram, Krishna Hare, Jai Jai Ram, Krishna Hare. Jai Jai Ram, Krishna Hare, Jai Jai Ram, Krishna Hare. Jai Jai Ram, Krishna Hare, Jai Jai Ram, Krishna Hare. Jai Jai Ram, Krishna Hare, Jai Jai Ram, Krishna Hare. Jai Jai Ram, Krishna Hare, Jai Jai Ram, Krishna Hare. Jai Jai Ram, Krishna Hare, Jai Jai Ram, Krishna Hare. Sita Ram, Sita Ram, Sita Ram, Jai Sita Ram. Sitaram, 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 Jai Sitaram. Sitaram Jai Sitaram. Sitaram 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 Jai Sitaram. Taram 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 Sitaram Taram Sitaram Jai Taram. Taram Sitaram Taram Taram Sitaram Sitaram Jai Sitaram. Sitaram 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 Jai Sitaram. Sitaram 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 Jai Sitaram. Govinda Hare Gopal Hare, He Prabhu Dinadala Hare, Govinda Hare, Gopala Hare, He Prabhu Dinadala Hare. 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 Govinda. Govinda Hare, Gopala Hare, He Prabhu Dinadala Hare. Govinda Hare, Gopala Hare, He Prabhu Dinadala Hare. Govinda. हे प्रभु दीन दयाल हरे। Gopala, Gopala, Devakinandana Gopala. Gopala, Gopala, Devakinandana Gopala. Devakinandana Gopala, Devakinandana Gopala. Devakinandana Gopala, Devakinandana Gopala. Gopala, Gopala, Devakinandana Gopala. Gopala, Gopala, Devakinandana Gopala. Devakinandana Gopala, Devakinandana Gopala. Devakinandana Gopala, Devakinandana Gopala. Gopala, Gopala, Devakinandana Gopala. Gopala, Gopala, Devakinandana Gopala. Devakinandana Gopala, Devakinandana Gopala, Devakinandana. Devakinandana Gopala, Devakinandana Gopala. Gopala, Gopala, Devakinandana Gopala. Gopala, Gopala, Devakinandana Gopala. Bhaja Devakinandana Gopala, Devakinandana Gopala. Devakinandana Gopala, Devakinandana Gopala. Gopala, Gopala, Devakinandana Devakinandana Gopala, Devakinandana Gopala, Devakinandana, Devakinandana Gopala, Devakinandana Gopala, 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 Devakinandana Gopala. Up to see. Saraswata Namaha. Saraswata Namaha. Saraswata, 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 Saraswata Namaha. Saraswata Namaha. Saraswata, 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 Saraswata Namaha. Saraswata Namaha. Saraswata Saraswati, Saraswati, Saraswati Namaha. Saraswati Saraswati, Saraswati, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. 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 Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a soul like me. I once was lost, but now I'm found. Was blind, so blind, but now I see. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Thanks. Okay. What do we got? Whoops. What's going on? Okay. So yeah, next weekend, not this weekend, the 6th and 7th will be in the city. Nuevo York, New York City. And just added a live stream option for the weekend. So if you can make it, somehow you can kind of tune in. And then for all the other things coming up, just go to krishnadas.com/events. Someone is curious about my views, and maybe Maharaji's, on the consumption of meat. And then they go on talking about a lot of things. So she says, or he says, whoever, Trey says, however, said this, I'm very willing to give up eating meat if it's called upon me to do so in my spiritual practice. Well, I don't know what to tell you, really. Hold on. Ultimately, it's up to you. I stopped eating meat in 1968 when I quit playing basketball in college. Because when I quit the team, I stopped getting free burgers. And I was already thinking about it. In those days, we didn't know much about, well, not that we know much now, but in those days, yoga and meditation was very new in the West. And I remember thinking in those days that you had to be vegetarian to do yoga, asana practice, and pranayama. And so I stopped eating it. I didn't really care. And I haven't missed it ever. So I never started eating it again. In this world, everything eats everything else. Humans eat animals, animals eat plants, plants eat other things. There's entities in the soil. And there are also people who are very stridently vegan. They won't take dairy products. They won't eat any kind of stuff like that. I have no idea what Maharaji said about those things. He himself was vegetarian, and as I would say the majority of people in India are, and certainly used to be when we first went there. Probably now, with a bigger middle class and more people living in the cities and having a much more modern lifestyle, maybe they eat more meat now, but I don't know. So yeah, it's really up to you. What if you have a teacher that requires that you give up meat? Well, then you don't have much choice. You have to either leave that teacher or do something else, or get with it. If you don't have a teacher and have to make up your own mind, I don't know if you've ever driven cross country somewhere in the Midwest. I forget exactly where. Driving across, I guess, one of the major highways, 80. You start to kind of taste this thing in the air. And there's miles and miles and miles of cattle waiting and pigs waiting to be slaughtered. And it's intense. It's really intense. You can feel the fear in the air. It's just extraordinary. I mean, these beings have feelings. They may not be able to talk about it, and there may not be feelings like human beings have feelings, but animals have feelings. And they know what death is like. Otherwise, they wouldn't run away from predators. They don't want to die. So it's really up to you what makes sense to you. And there are, like I said, there are a lot of people who are very politically stridently vegan. I am vegan, but it's really more because I can't digest milk products. It's not a philosophical thing, but once again, I don't miss them. So it's up to you. I would like to know what practice you do or suggest to prepare and maintain chants and kirtan. You sing. You don't have to prepare. Nothing's required. You open your mouth, you make noise. That's it. As far as I'm concerned. Maharaji never required anything from us. He wanted us to sing, so we sing. We take the name. He said the repetition of the name accomplishes everything. So he didn't say you have to do this, you have to do that. You know. So I have nothing to say about that. Just go ahead and do what you feel like. Of course, if you want to do practice, you have to be healthy. It helps to be healthy. There are practices to do when you're not healthy. There are practices that deal with pain and suffering in the body and in the emotions, in the mind. But the older you get, you begin to appreciate being a little bit healthy and not being in pain and being able to concentrate more on your practice. Because when you're in pain, it changes the way you go through the day. Not that you can't do practice. You can, but it's different. I love the Bajrang Ban, which you sang last week. The melody stayed with me, and I listened to it on repeat on your album on Spotify. When I looked up the lyrics, I saw on Google that the Bajrang Ban is not recommended to be sang by women. Don't believe everything you read on Google, please. Why would you believe everything you read on Google? Traditionally, though, in India, because Hanuman is supposedly celibate, you wouldn't put a Hanuman statue in your bedroom where you're going to be in bed and doing things in bed because he'd be embarrassed. But that's not my Hanuman. My Hanuman knows everything I think, feel, do, have done, and will do. So he's not embarrassed by anything. So just delete that stuff from your brain and sing the Bajrang Ban if you're called to it. Why not? I recently started to aim my devotional practice towards Jesus, since here in the West, that's our culture, and my wife is Christian. I believe Christ's name and Hanuman's name both have the same power in mantra. Can you speak about this? Also, I remember you speaking about reading the Gospel in the hills of India. Can you share on this as well? Well, when you say Christ, when you repeat the name of Christ, you're connecting with that being. An enlightened being. All enlightened beings are the same. So and Maharaji said to us over and over, Krishna, Hanuman, and Christ are the same. Now, a Christian wouldn't say that. But in India, they're a little bit loosey-goosey. They love everything that moves. They don't make such hard and fast delineations between things. If you love Christ, it's the love that's important. If you love Hanuman, it's the love that's important. Maharaji loved Jesus very much. When he spoke about Jesus, it was almost unbearable how powerful it felt, how deep, how much love just woof. There we were in a Hanuman temple with a little Indian guy talking about Jesus and feeling unbelievable love, love that we never felt in America about Jesus, because in America, Christianity mostly teaches that that's the only way. Most Christians are taught and believe that Christianity is the only true religion. But it depends how you define Christ. Is Christ an individual human being like you and me, or is Christ that spirit that is one with everything, the oneness of all beings, the Christ consciousness, as they call it? So a lot of it depends on how you define these things to yourself. What you believe, you will follow that, what you believe. So, and you have to. You can't believe what you don't believe. You have to find your way into your own heart the best you can. And if this works for you, who's to say? Who's to judge? And I've told many times the story when, to make it short, Maharaji told us to meditate like Christ. I mean, he never told us to meditate. He asked us to sing and chant, and he told us to serve others, etc., and feed people. But he never told us to meditate. But somebody asked him, how should I meditate? And he said, meditate like Jesus. So Ram Dass asked him, said, Baba, you said we should meditate like Christ. How did he meditate? And Maharaji closed his, he was about to say something. It looked like he was about to say something, and he just stopped. And his eyes closed. And he sat in front of us completely still. It felt like the whole world stopped turning. You could just see him becoming totally immersed. It was so powerful. Then after a little while, a few minutes, he opened his eyes and kind of shook his head. He said, he lost himself in love. He lost himself in love, which is what it looked like Maharaji had just done, lost himself in love. He lost himself in love. He was one with all beings. He never died. No one understands. He lost himself in love. So once again, there's maybe a different type of understanding about Jesus. There are different types of different understandings of who Jesus is, how to connect with him, and what it means to be a devotee of Jesus, of Christ. So according to your beliefs, that's what you'll do, and you should. Lately, my internal struggle has increased with deeper and deeper sadness because my family judges me poorly. Dad is 94, siblings wealthy, I live on very little, etc. They're all Republican. And the friends I've made over the years have dropped away for one reason or another, death, gone crazy, other interests. I'm always alone, and this sadness is so painful that I can only find relief when I enjoy a few glasses of wine in the evening. I am close to your age, my age, and keep myself in good physical shape, and have been blessed with a pretty physical vehicle, but still no one is interested to be my friend and share time together. Ultimately, of course, I would love a man to be loved by, but this has never been successful in my life. I wonder if life will ever feel good again. I'm not Dr. Ruth. I have very little experience with relationships. However, going to the first part of your thing, you say you live in sadness because your family judges you poorly. I'm not sure why they judge you poorly, but that's their problem, not yours. If it affects you, that's your problem. My mother never understood me, why I was interested in spiritual things. And my father also didn't really understand, but he let me do my thing. My sister is into the same stuff I'm into. She went to India, lived with Siddhima for a long time. You know, one has to live with one's life as it is. And all the love in the universe lives within us all the time. So you need to work with your emotions, the sadness. You need to work with not getting your expectations fulfilled by your family. I don't know why they judge you. You don't mention that here. But whatever it is, you have yourself, and one can start to focus on what one does have and actually cultivate gratitude for what one has. You say you're in good physical shape, etc., etc. So you can be very grateful for that. There's a lot of other things that you could be saying about your physical condition, which you're not. So you're focused very much on the unhappiness and what you don't have. And maybe you'll never have it. But what you can do is change your mind, which is basically the only thing that we can do. We can't change the way other people feel about us. We can only change the way we feel about ourselves. So try to find something to do, some way of cultivating some gratitude for what you have, and you'll find that the heaviness can lift as you stop being so obsessed with it and start getting more connected to all the good things that are in your life. I can't believe I'm saying these things because I grew up very, I this isn't exactly positive thinking. Positive thinking just means trying to convince yourself of something. That's not what I'm talking about. But you have many things. There are many things in our lives that we have and that we are that we really just ignore. We don't notice them, and we focus on the negative all the time. Yeah, that's like depression. So in order to open yourself up a little, start to concentrate and become more grateful for the things you do have, because you do have a lot of things that you can be grateful for. And at first it might feel insincere. At first it might feel that you're trying to manipulate yourself, but gradually you might actually begin to appreciate the truth of it. So good luck. I'm just beginning therapy about 2 years after finding Maharaji, or him finding me. I've been very averse to therapy all my life for various reasons, but I'm finding I really have some mental problems going on that I can't spirituality my way through, or so it seems at least. Is there anything you can say about where these two things intersect? How to keep them separate, or if they need to be kept separate, or any experience you'd like to share? Could you also talk about spiritual up-leveling? Yeah, well, ultimately what happens is through spiritual practice, you get the strength to overcome the kind of things that you're talking about trying to get through. The mental issues, the emotional issues, the negative views we have of ourselves, the negative takes we have on ourselves, the hard times we give ourselves, the negative stories we tell ourselves about ourselves all lifelong. You can't just let go of those things. You need strength to let go. And along with strength, you need to develop a deeper center of gravity. The deeper you go within, the easier it is to let go of the stuff that shows up as superficial and not as deep. But it's not easy. It's not a button you push. And there's no reason to separate therapy and life. It's just your life. Everything you do in your life is your life. And you might find that the therapy helps you be more aware and involved when you do spiritual practice and not so spaced out. And that actually you might begin to feel a little peace once in a while, and vice versa. So everything works together. You only have your life. There's not two things going on here. It's just you and your life, one thing. And yeah, spiritual up-leveling or spiritual avoidance is when people don't deal with their shit and they try to just mentally manipulate themselves into a different mental position about things and don't really destroy the seeds of suffering inside. The constant flow of negativity, of unhappiness, of unfulfilled longing, of fear and anxiety. Unless those seeds are destroyed and burnt, they keep growing and growing and growing no matter what you do. You can't talk yourself out of that stuff. You have to get in there and learn to let go. Not push away, that's a whole other ballgame. Letting go is very different than pushing away. So yeah. Somebody's asking a question about verse 626 in the Hanuman Chalisa. Sankat ten Hanuman Churawe. How is that T-E-N produced? Well, it's pronounced with T. The N is nasal, ten. But you're saying sometimes it sounds like an S. That's because some people say Sankata sen Hanuman. Ten means you. So if you say ten, you mean Hanuman, you remove the sankat, the calamities from people. You're the remover of suffering. If you say, it means Hanuman, you remove us, you remove the suffering, us from the suffering. You're the remover of us from the suffering. Say means from. So it's two different words, and people do it both ways. In India, they do it a million ways, but there's many ways to do these things. So it's a different word. Ten or say, both are okay. I feel like I've come full circle with fear of death, and I'm no longer intellectually or philosophically afraid of death and do not worry about it. But there is this lingering fear of leaving the storyline And I worry about older loved ones facing death without the same understanding I have of it. It's one thing to understand intellectually, philosophically. It's another thing to not have fear or panic when you're about to be hit by a car and there's no escape. Those are the moments that show you where you're still attached and still identified with the body and the emotions and the thoughts. So I don't know where you're really at about it. I hope you've totally conquered death. That would be very nice. I guess you'll find out. Good luck. I have become Mr. Angry, especially around my immediate family. Welcome to the human race. I don't like it and I want to change and not be this angry being. I find I can control my temper in other surroundings and generally keep it together and not angry, but around my family, especially my parents and brother, and at times the wife, and to a lesser extent the kids, I just keep flying off the handle and exploding like a volcano. Well, you should be bowing to those people. They are showing you where your stuff is. So instead of being angry, cultivate gratitude. They are showing you where your work is. And like Ram Dass used to say, if you want to know how your spiritual work is going, just go home for a week to visit your family. You'll have a nervous breakdown. Because your family sees you in a very, very solid, fixed way. You're the jerk who wet the bed. You're the kid who couldn't count. They see you all. They've seen all your shit your whole life, and because now you're a yogi, you think they're going to see that? No. They're going to see the same person who's been there all these years, who's been angry and demanding and emotional and pushy and manipulative and all that stuff. That's good. They're showing you where your work is. And that's hard to see. It really is. And anger is a very destructive emotion. And a lot of anger comes from pain, emotional pain. It's kind of one of the ways that the pain expresses itself, getting angry at other people. They're not doing what I want. They're not treating me right. They're not giving me what I want. They don't understand me. All that nonsense that we live with all the time. So it's difficult. My relationship with my mother was very difficult. So Maharaji brought her to India. And that helped the relationship a lot. It didn't totally fix it, but it helped her a lot, and it helped us. It helped our relationship over the years. And there's a lot of arrogance in anger. You think you know what these people should be feeling, how they should be treating you, and you're not getting what you want. And my microphone's not staying up. Wrestle, wrestle, wrestle. Nice. But just look at yourself. Maybe you'll get a good laugh sometime. You see how out of control you are. And that'll be the beginning of being able to let go of some of that stuff. calm your ass down once in a while and just be there. Get used to letting go for a minute or two during the day. And little by little, there might be some more space around those immediate knee-jerk reactions. But there's a lot of stuff, obviously, that we deal with in these situations. One thing is your expectations for your family, what you think they should be feeling and how they should be treating you and how they should be seeing you, you know. So a lot of arrogance in that, a lot of ego in that. So it's good. It's good that you get a chance to see it. It's good. Because if you don't see it, you can never let it go. And you have to let it go. The only thing we take with us when we leave the body is our state of mind. And this is part of your state of mind, this anger. So it's good to work with it. And it's great blessing that your family is helping you see what you need to work on. It's painful. It's painful to be out of control. Yeah, when it doesn't matter when you're with people who you don't give a shit about, you can be cool. What is it about your relationship with these people that gets you? That's for you to figure out. And you can, but you have to pay attention. And there's no button to push. There's no remedy to take. Life will cure you of it if you trust the process of opening up. If we can learn to trust our hearts, if we can learn to let go of some of those negative stories we live inside of our whole lives, life will help us. So, good luck. That's it. What's the quality of our day? How do we go through the day? What's our atmosphere like as we're moving through the day? That's our karmic predicament. And that's where we have ultimately where we could have a vote. How do we go through our day? Full of fear, anxiety, shame, greed, selfishness? Or do we slowly learn how to trust our hearts and go through the day not thinking about ourselves all the time? But we do. We think about ourselves all the time. And that's, if we didn't think about ourselves all the time, we wouldn't be suffering. When I was going to kill myself in India, I already said, you can't die. Only Jesus died the real death. What? Why? Because he never thought of himself. Thoughts of me never arose in that being. There was no ego in that being. He was here for his people. He was here to transmit what he had to transmit to the people he had to transmit it to. And then he left. And he's still transmitting. Because he never thinks, it's not about me. There's no body in there where there's no agenda other than compassion and kindness. When these great saints go through the day, they don't go through the day like we go through the day. Totally asleep on our feet. Yada, 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 lost in our thoughts. So, but it's good to see how we go through the day so we can start to change it and get a grip, pay some attention, and start to shift all the stuff that's hurting us. We have to do, nobody can do that for us. The programs that are running are destroying us. They're crushing us. They're crushing our hearts. So only we can let go. There's a lot of help in many different forms, inside and outside, but we have to let go. Ultimately, it's up to us. Or so it seems. I've said many times, Maharaji used to tease us. He used to say, I have the keys to the mind. And he'd say, I could turn your minds against me. I'll transfer you back to America. No, don't do that. Don't do that. And he would laugh. And he did. Ultimately, he transferred everybody. But it was our time to go back. So, and deal with our shit. In fact, that's what he told me when he sent me back to America. You have attachment there. You have to go. And he was right, of course. Everything that's happened to me in the last 50 plus years is what he was talking about, of what I have to go through in order to find my way home. So one time I said to Siddhi Maharaji said, he has the keys to the mind, which means to me that I am mentally, emotionally, physically, I am, and spiritually where he wants me to be, where he put me, because he has the keys to the mind. So, is it all his doing, or is my effort required? My personal effort, sadhana, meditation, chanting, all that stuff. And she said, Krishnadas, it's all grace, but you have to act like it isn't. Wow. Wow. It's all grace. Done deal. Nothing ever happens. Nothing ever gonna happen. We don't know that. We are stuck in time. Great beings are not stuck in time. It's all now. The whole universe is a book they're reading easily. The past, the present, the future. We are stuck in time. And the body's decaying as time goes on. So let's do some chanting. While the body's decaying, we might as well do some chanting while we can.
It's okay.
It's B flat. Oh. in your arms, vast embrace, only love, shining in endless space. All I want is to be with you. All my prayers have been heard. All I need is to rest inside your heart, as wide as the world. I looked away, your beauty, too much to bear. Where could I run? Your eyes, I find them everywhere. All I want is to sing to you a song that no one has heard. All my life has led me to your heart, as wide as the world. Om Tare Tu Tare Ture Swaha. 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 It's good. B flat. This Sundara Chalisa, me and Arjun used to play this Kenchi all the time in front of Maharaja's mandir. Shri Guru Charana Saroja Raja Nijamano Mukuru Sudhar Parano Raghubara Vimala Jasu Chodayaku Palachara Buddhihin Tanu Janke Sumeram Pavana Kuma Siaram Balabuddhi Vidya De Mohi Pardu Kale Subhikara Siavara Ramachandra Padje Sharana Jai Hanuman Jnana Guna Saga Jai Kapishati Loka Ujaga Ramaduta Tulita Baladhama Anjani Putra Pavana Sutanama Mahavira Vikram Bajrangi Kumati Nivara Sumati Kesangi Kanchana Varan Viraja Subesa Kanana Kundala Kunchitakesa Atta Vajra Dvaja Viraje Kande Munja Janeu Saja Shankara Suvana Kesari Nandana Teja Pratapa Mahajagavan Vidyavan Guni Ati Chatur Rama Kajakari Beko Atur Prabhu Charitra Sunibe Korasya Rama Lakhan sanjeeva lakhana jiyaye Shri Raghuvira harshi urlaye Raghupati kinhi bahut baraye Tumma mama priya paratahe samabhaye Sahasrabadan tumharo jasa gawe Asakhi Shri Pati Kanta lagawe Sanakadika Brahmadi Munisa Arad Sharad Sahita Hisa Yamakubed Digapala Jahante Kabhi Kobhid Kahe Sake Kahante Tuma Upakara Sugriva Inkina Rama Melaya Rajapadadina Tumaro Mantra Bibhishanamana Ankeshwara Bhai Sabba Jagajana Yuga Sahasra Yojana Parabhanu Ilyotahi Madhura Palajana Prabhu Mudrika Nele Mukamahi Chaladilange Gaye Achara Janmahi Durga Makaja Jagat Ke Jete Sugam Anugrah Tumare Tete Ramaduare Tumara Kavare Otanagya Din Pesare Sab Sukla Hai Tumhari Sharana Tumhara Chakka Kahu Kodarana Apana Teja Samaro Ape Tinon Lokahanka Tinkamte Bhut Pisasha Nakat nahi aave Mahavir jab naam sunave Nase roga hare sab pira Japat nirantara hanumat veera Sankat te hanuman churave Manakrama bhajana dhyan jo lave Sab pararama tapasvi raja Tinake kaja sakala tumasaja Aur manorat jo koi lave Soe amit jeevan pal paave Charon yuga pratap tumhara Hai prasidh jagat ujiyara Sadhu sant ke tum rakhwale Asur nikandana Ram dulade Ashta siddhino nidhi ke data Asavar dina Janki mata Ram rasayan tumhare pasa Sada raho Raghupati ke dasa Tumhare bhajana Ram ko paave Janam janam ke dukha bisarave Anta kala raghuvar ura jaye Jahandam hare bhakta kahaye खट घटे निठे सब पीरा जो सुमिरे हनुमत बलबीर जय 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 हनुमान गोसाई कृपा करो गुरुदेव की नाई जो सत बाड़ा पाठ कर कोई छुत ही बंदी महासुख होय जोयावर हनुमान चालीसा होया सिद्धि साखी गणेश तुलसीदास सदारि चेरा कीजे नाथ हृदय महादेव पवनतनय संकट हरण मंगल मूर्ति रूप सिया राम लखन सीता सहित हृदय बसु सुरभूप सियावर रामचंद्र भजै शरण मंगल मूर्ति मारुतनंदन सकल मंगल मूल निकंदन मंगल मूर्ति मारुतनंदन सकल मंगल मूल निकंदन श्री राम जय जय राम 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 सीताराम 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 जय सीताराम श्री राम जय जय राम 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 राम लक्ष्मण जानकी जय बोलो हनुमान की 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 श्री राम जय जय राम 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 सीताराम 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 जय सीताराम 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 जय सीताराम राम लक्ष्मण जानकी जय बोलो samasta sukhino bhavantu. Loka 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 samasta sukhino bhavantu. Say goodbye to Arjun. And Muji. Hey Muji. Hello Mama. Okay. Namaste. Take good care. And all that. Happy roads. Ram Ram.